I'm here with Alex Song, the CEO and co-founder of Dojo Mojo. How's it going, Alex?
It's going really well. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so just to give a quick background, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what brought you to create Dojo Mojo?
Sure thing. So I'm originally from Southern California, born and raised. Moved out here to New York right after I finished undergrad over at Berkeley in Northern California. Came out here in 2004 to pursue a career in Wall Street. Worked at Goldman Sachs as an investment banking analyst. The whole 100 hours a week, sleeping under your desk. I did all that, and I ended up being very fortunate to receive an internal promotion to join a group called the Principal Investment Area, which is Goldman's large cap LBO group. Was there for another 3.5 years, doing all sorts of exciting investments, both through the good times of 2006, 2007, and also through the very difficult times of 2008, 2009. I learned a ton just seeing that part of the cycle and became a pretty decent investor. Was recruited to join a fund called Pershing Square, working for an investor named Bill Ackman, who's a pretty well-known activist investor. Spent a lot of time managing and researching different investment opportunities for him. And then in 2013, kind of took a look around and decided, I really wanted to do something in the more early stage, do something that was more entrepreneurial, but something that also balanced my own investment ability and skill set. So I founded a company called Innovation Department, which is a platform that both does early stage investing as well as builds and operates early stage businesses. And we were lucky, given the network that we had. We were able to get into names like, Dropbox, Pinterest, DigitalOcean, Lyft, ClassPass, Daily Harvest, a lot of great opportunities. And we took a lot of those learnings and the access we had from those founding teams, and we started try to really build our own kind of set of proprietary assets to build businesses internally. One of those technologies that we built was a partnership marketing platform called Dojo Mojo. In the very beginning, we used it just to help facilitate kind of how one brand would partner with another brand to try to do some sort of lead generation, and by collaborating across a similar audience group. Soon enough, people were asking us if they could pay us to use this technology we built in-house, and soon enough we realized, okay, we're on to something here and we should actually make this commercially viable. And then I took the role as CEO to really scale up that business since starting end of 2016, early 2017.
That's awesome. I love the story of people creating features within a business that they find out is the ultimate business. Like it surpasses. I've heard that time and time again, and that's great that that's how Dojo Mojo. I didn't know that
Yeah,
that's
I've
how.
heard that story about Slack, and I'm hopeful still what the path is for us as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Slack's a great example of that. So, as far as like you started the company, and did you start it with a couple co-founders? And
Yeah.
what were the first initial steps? Did you guys need to raise money, or were you already profitable because it was sort of a different business model that you had Dojo Mojo within? And how did that work out?
Yeah, so when we first started, you know, innovation department had made a few early stage investments. So we had founders of other companies that innovation department was backing in-house. And we kind of did a little bit of a startup founding all-star team, if you will. We took CEOs and CTOs of the other companies, partly with my own team as well, and just kind of had them come in and do their part of really scaling this up early stage. We worked together to figure out, how to get to product market fit. Really worked on just kind of putting it out there into the ecosystem and understanding, what kind of customers we're able to access. And we were able to actually fund it internally because we were also tied to innovation department the investment arm as well. And very quickly, just given, the SaaS subscription model, we were able to kind of minimize burn and start to see this business kind of scale up as we took on more and more clients. Just to give you a little bit more detail about Dojo Mojo, you should think of it almost like a LinkedIn for marketers that are looking to connect with each other to run digital campaigns. And when they run those digital campaigns, we provide them with like very simple landing page builders like you see on Squarespace. We provide them with all the tracking links so they can do attribution and analytics. And we now have 8,000 brands strong on the platform. Some clients include The Skim, Condé Nast, Reebok, Hearst, Fossil Group, some pretty notable people out there. And the nice thing is this becomes an alternative to the traditional Facebook and, kind of Google AdWord type paid acquisition channels. And then instead of paying that third party platform premium, we just charge a simple subscription fee for you to then access other partners that you can work with. And that like-minded kind of collaboration from brand to brand makes the ROI much more positive because you don't have to pay that platform premium.
Yeah, I love the collaboration concept of growth through the email sweepstakes and things like that that you guys are doing, because email is king in my mind. And I've had multiple people on the show that talk about email and the importance of it still to this day.
Yeah.
And it's just such a better and more long-term mindset, because Facebook changes its algorithm one day, your bottom line takes a hit, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
And when you have to diversify out. And I actually had a meeting with like some of the heads of La Tote and Dollar Shave Club and a couple of these other directors of marketing, and everyone was freaked out about Facebook, saying like, okay, we're getting great return, but it's just too much exposure to one channel, and
yeah,
that is risk on its own.
I think that's a great point. I think we are very our problem was in the beginning, we were constrained by not having raised a huge amount of money. And we also, because of that constraint, had to be creative, and email just made sense to us, right? It became a really great way to acquire leads. We could continue to message and contact those leads. And it's first party data at the end of the day, right? So that's something you can control. Like we basically tried to figure out Instagram and Facebook channels, didn't do so hot. Then the algorithm changed, then we did even worse. And then we said, all right, let's double down on the things that we know. Email, as you said, is just such an amazing channel if you can figure it out. And most recently, we're actually making a really big bet on SMS as well. It had its moment 3-4 years ago, but had a lot of kind of consumer backlash. I think now, based on how marketing channels are being used, based on millennial usage of mobile texting, it actually is having a lot of success again. And that's something that we're actually building into our Dojo Mojo platform as one of the ways that they can acquire new leads in addition to email.
Very cool. SMS. That's interesting. So as far as team, you guys started with a few people. How many people do you guys have now currently?
Yeah, we are now a total of 34 people here in the office. It's been a really great adventure trying to build up that team. One of the key things that we recognized was, we understood the importance of establishing culture early on, really establishing expectations. And honestly, it wasn't super obvious to me, having come from a finance background. Goldman is an incredible place to work, but, at a company of that size, it's harder and harder for them to really invest in building culture. Establishing that from an early, outset for us was really important. And, what does that mean, culture, right? A lot of people say different things about what culture means. I simply define it as, what everyone is expected to do when no management is around. And I think the way you're able to establish those things is you really try to focus on creating moments where there's a clear representation or example of the type of behavior that you're trying to promote. For example, every single week, we do a ton of different types of learning opportunities. For example, we have people presenting every week on a failure or innovation that they're excited about. It's a quick 10, 15-minute presentation every Monday over breakfast, but it just sets the tone for the week that we really care about learning and learning together in a collaborative environment. We also do something that I love, which is every 2 months, we do a book club. And we literally choose like a startup book or an entrepreneurial story. Right now we're reading Grit by Angela Duckworth, which is kind of this whole, classic, how do you do better and kind of strengthen your journey through entrepreneurship, right? And I think grit and resilience is such a key part, as you know, in surviving this, amazing journey that we all decide to take. And I think the clear thing for us is like, the more the leadership invests in it and the more that the team is committed to it, you see these behaviors start to become really promising and reinforce themselves, and they actually start to compound as well, which is really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. I just talked to, on the show, Aman, the CEO of Ministry of Supply, and he was talking about the importance of the first few hires, because the first few hires very much define culture. Like when they're coming on and they're really building the foundation out of how everybody's talking and working together in the office, and management's kind of trying to make it work with them and creating this culture and then plugging people into that. So it's like this kind of compounding approach to it. So that's
Yeah.
great. You guys do these book clubs and all of these creative things to keep it going and growing.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to come at it, and I think that the ways that we've chosen to approach it, have been really beneficial and informative to see the growth as we scale. And it's hard. You've built businesses, and you know how hard it is with every additional employee you add to kind of maintain the expectations and the alignment. And I think now I can proudly say that it's very, very well immersed across the entire team.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great that you guys have been able to do that, because it's probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest thing to do when everything's growing rapidly. And that's a good segue into the traction section. So as far as like where you guys are right now, where you were, let's say last year, how are you guys doing, and what do you guys measure? I think a lot of
Sure.
people listening wonder, a successful entrepreneur like yourself, what do you set up as far as like key performance indicators for your business, and how does that work within the company? So
Sure.
how you view that?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think for us, it's not as revenue focused as most SaaS companies. We're a network play at the end of the day, and with 8,000 brands already having signed up, our long-term goal is to really get as many engaged users using our product as possible. I think the monetization or the revenue opportunities will naturally flow out of a very engaged audience. So we're super focused on engagement. We got the acquisition side down pretty well, in that every month we have about 150 organic referrals that are signing up for our free trial. That becomes a really strong positive momentum for us to really start to create more activity within the market, within our marketplace. And I think the key thing now is, how do we keep those users engaged? How do we offer them more value, driving more features towards them that can create more opportunities? It's a marketing platform at the end of the day, so ROI is always of the utmost importance for them. And I think that's an area that we're very focused on building out. To throw out some metrics, I mean, we're about triple in terms of top line where we were just about 18 months ago. User engagement is up by almost 100%. And we're continuing to scale up from there. Another attribute that we focus on is like total number of email leads acquired. I think we're about to break 200 million email leads ever acquired for our customers, which is really exciting. That's a lot of customer acquisition and dollars for people. And then the last part of what we're doing now is like, we're really focused on making sure that we offer more analytics and insight to our customers. Having generated so many email leads for people, we start to understand which customers are going to have the best types of audiences for these different partnerships. So we're investing a lot into data science and machine learning to understand the best partner matching possible. They give us all the attribution so that we see the data on the back end and help facilitate the best partnerships going forward. Soon enough, as we get stronger and stronger there, truly we want to get to a pure ROI number where we can really, stand behind that. And that's the marketer's dream, right? A channel that's not controlled by, a third party that changes their algorithm day to day, and instead something that they feel like they have a lot of control over, something with other like-minded marketers standing behind, and also very transparent trust protocols to help make it very effective for them to do their jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you guys keep it open when you're communicating, like as someone who's used Dojo Mojo in the past, as sitting in the seat wearing the marketer hat, communicating directly with other marketers is such a great experience. And you don't feel like it feels like you're on Facebook Messenger almost. You're literally just messaging back and forth with them,
Yeah.
which is a really unique experience. And I love the freedom that you have on the platform for sure. I think that that's really clever that you guys focus on the experience of users, because
That's awesome. I'm happy to hear you had such a good experience.
yeah. I love the free flow of conversation on any platform. That you guys consider yourself a network play, I think is a winning strategy, because people refer people to things that they love. And I always tell entrepreneurs on my experience and my mentors' experiences, learn from the people that love your product and make everybody the best that you possibly can to love your product
Yeah.
before you scale up. And it sounds like you guys have done that. And email, all the time you guys have emailed me, I've enjoyed the emails, the people that have emailed me, because you guys know the importance of email as communication. So it's been nice, for sure.
Thank you.
As far as like technology goes, I think a lot of people listening are always really interested in like how a rapidly growing company like yourself and rapidly growing company like yourself as the CEO of a company like that, what do you use? Are you guys using communication software? Are you guys using what different types of tools do you recommend for someone that's just getting started, or even someone at your capacity running a company that's SaaS? What are your favorite tools and what do you guys recommend?
Sure. No, I think it's a really good question. And it's interesting, earlier on you mentioned how um, executives and leaders now, they use tech to effectively have 10 arms at a time. And that truly is what these tools have allowed us to do, right? It's incredible how much more efficient and how much more we can potentially get done. So as long as we're disciplined about which tools we use and why. I like to mention one tool which we invested in early when the tool was still very early, but has grown with us in a meaningful way, and that's Flow. Flow is a workflow management tool that works really well for business teams. It's not your traditional engineering type Jira or whatever else is out there. But it's really great for business teams that need to align with technical teams, because it has attributes for you to move both types of differing work streams along in a very effective way. It's just really easy to use. I had the pleasure of speaking to the CEO recently, literally just reached out to him as a fan, and just hearing the story of how he put it together. And, what's really awesome is the CEO is actually the former head of design over at Square. So if you think about Jack Dorsey's culture of how valued design was at Square, you can imagine they took the head of design. He's the CEO now, right?
Wow.
He built a really cool tool, and I highly recommend it to people. The other tools that I think are just really valuable are just making sure that, again, differs for different people. But I think as a CEO, a new tool that I recently came across, particularly when it's starting to gear up for fundraising, is Affinity. And Affinity is this really, I think it's actually built by Joe Lonsdale were founded by him. And I think one of the things that we love about it is that it just is a really effective CRM for when you have the ability, when the need to manage a lot of kind of outbounds, inbounds through fundraising and following up. And it's much lighter than your traditional Salesforce type CRMs. But I found this incredibly useful, and it's something that you can use for small teams and large.
That's awesome. Flow and Affinity. I'll have to check those
Yeah,
out. That's really cool
check them
about
out.
Flow. That
Yeah.
the head of design. That's fantastic. So what's coming for Dojo Mojo? Before the call, we talked a little bit about some exciting things in the pipeline, but what are you
Yeah.
excited about, and what's coming?
Well, I'm aiming at that 10,000 brands on the network number. I really want to hit that number, hopefully in the next, let's call it quarter and a half. I think that'll be a big moment for us. Look, it's a network play, and I think that we're constantly trying to figure out more ways to create value on the platform. Already been able to create a lot of value for the Skims of the world, the GQs, the Vogues, all those great brands, but it's really that next layer of up and coming brands that are looking for more capital efficient growth, that simply may not be able to afford the same sort of cost per acquisition on traditional paid channels. Hey, you know what? There's still a home for you, and there's still a way for you to be successful. I think that's a key part of what we're trying to offer. I think our mission very much is more and more aligned with my own personal feeling of just how hard entrepreneurship is. And therefore, we want to solve it. We want to make it better and more likely and more probable for more people to have success. Technology helps in a huge way, but also choosing the right tools and having the right strategies is a big piece of it. And I think that's a big effort for us to close the year. And of course, we're pushing SMS marketing in a big way as well. I mean, the market's huge, right? And there's tons of people that tried to do SMS 3 years ago, but I don't think they did it right. So I think here we are, coming through the woodwork, and we're basically going to tell people, hey, we have a more efficient way to acquire first party data. You can't get that access through other platforms. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google AdWords are less efficient than ever. So let us come in and be your partner to figure out how to drive that return. And we're going to do it in a smart and effective way to give you the results you're looking for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm excited to see SMS. I'm definitely going to be one of the people to
Yeah, we'll
one of
get
the
you as
people
a
to.
beta tester for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to test it out because that's exciting. I love the idea that it's not who did it first, it's who did it best. And I think
Exactly.
you guys are sitting in the correct position to do it really well. But thanks so much for being on the show, Alex. How can people find out more about Dojo Mojo? Where do you want them to check it out?
Yeah, just dojomojo.com, DojoMojo.com. Come check it out. Free trials, easy to use. The fact that Steve has had success means that you guys can have success too. And, I think it's a great place for networking, to find new brands and be successful with other audiences that you're looking for.
Yeah, definitely highly recommend it. Well, thanks so much for sitting down with me today, Alex.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Steve. I appreciate you taking the time.